All right, so this is where we left off. We were talking about determinants of the price elasticity of demand, and if I go back to the last slide, you can see it's the availability and number of substitutes, time, and the share of consumers' budgets. So let's check our understanding, and if I were you, I would pause here and think about the answers. All right, so which is more inelastic, cigarettes or Marlboro cigarettes? Cigarettes would be more inelastic than Marlboro cigarettes. The reason is Marlboro cigarettes have more substitutes. So if the price of those goes up, people will buy some other brand. I don't know what the other brands are. This is a great question. Foreign travel or question mark. What I had meant to write was coffee, foreign travel or coffee. And the answer is coffee is going to be more inelastic. If you're like me, you're addicted to it, number one. But foreign travel makes up a big proportion of your budget. My family had actually planned a trip to Norway this summer that we had to cancel because they wouldn't let us in the country. It was an expensive trip, right? So people tend to like really pay attention to price differences. And in fact, that's the reason we booked it, is we got tickets to Norway for like, I don't know, $500 or something. We ended up going to Alaska and it was great, so you don't need to feel bad for us. All right, toothpicks or beef? The more inelastic good is going to be toothpicks. This is always so tricky. I love to trick students with this. Toothpicks are inelastic because it's a very small proportion of your budget. So if they go from like 25 cents to 50 cents, that's 100% price change. No one's gonna care, right? It's like, okay, fine. Same thing with like ramen noodles. Gasoline in the short run or gasoline in the long run? Which one's gonna be more elastic? Gasoline in the long run. As we move to the long run, people can move closer to work, they can get more fuel efficient cars, whatever. If gasoline increases in the short run, people are stuck driving. All right. So it's worth mentioning what perfectly elastic and inelastic demand is, especially for those of you teaching AP Micro. I feel like this would be a really good AP Micro question. Perfectly inelastic basically means no matter what the price, quantity demanded is the same. This here is a theoretical extreme. We don't really actually think this exists in the world because people run out of money. So if we think about like insulin, that's a super inelastic good. You have to use insulin. Well, if it's $2 million, people won't use insulin. This is not a theoretical extreme. This is something that we are going to see this semester. Perfectly elastic. At one price, consumers will buy an infinite amount. Any price higher, no one's going to buy it. So the place we're going to see this is in perfect competition for an individual firm. So if you think about perfect competition where there's like tons of sellers, maybe corn or like soybeans. We have a lot of soybeans in this country. Joe's soybeans down the road. He has no say over the price of soybeans. He has to sell at the market price, but he can sell as many as he wants at the market price. If he tries to charge anything higher than that, his quantity demanded is going to go down to zero because you're going to buy some other guy's soybeans. And then, of course, there'd be no incentive to charge a lower price because you can sell an infinite amount here. All right, so your book talks about marginal revenue here. This is a super important concept moving forward, so I am actually going to add a little something. Marginal revenue is the additional revenue to a change in output. So whenever you see marginal, it's one more. What is my marginal utility of eating one more hamburger, drinking one more cup of coffee? This is what is the additional revenue from selling one more. And your book actually shows, it only shows you this graphically, which is really important. We need to see this graphically, especially when we deal with monopolies later. But I'm also going to do a numerical example. So we've got our demand curve here. We've got a linear demand curve, and marginal revenue actually has twice the slope. You can prove this with calculus, that the slope is twice as steep. But if we think about this here, with the elastic portion, Okay, marginal revenue. To sell one more, you have to drop the price. So I decrease the price and total revenue increases at a decreasing rate. Okay, so total revenue will go up if you drop the price. That has to be elastic. We reach a point where it's zero. This is going to be unitary or unit elastic. Selling one more does not change revenue at all, which we've seen. And then the inelastic portion, dropping the price to sell one more, decreases revenue, so that goes negative. So this is always going to hit zero at the unit elastic portion. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to show you this Excel file because your book doesn't have a great example of this. So I've got this demand curve here, and the first thing you always say is do a common sense check. Does this follow the law of demand? Yes, it does. As price decreases, quantity demanded increases. And I suppose I should call this quantity demanded. All right, total revenue. How do we get total revenue? Price times quantity. And when I teach micro, I actually use Excel kind of a lot and have students look at it. If you go slow and talk through what you're doing, it can be a good teaching tool. So one thing I'm going to look for with total revenue here is as price goes down, right? Price goes down, quantity demanded goes up. Do we see this relationship where marginal revenue is going to go, it's going to be positive and then negative? In other words, does total revenue increase, reach a point, and then decrease? Yes, it does. And if I had to guess, where is the price elasticity of demand 1? My guess would be at the quantity of 9 and the price of 90, because that's where it's maximized. So it goes up and then it goes down. Marginal revenue, all you do is you take this minus this. So going from 0 to 1, our additional revenue is 170. And then you can see marginal revenue decreases, 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 hits 0 at about 9.5, and then it goes negative. So I could ask you, what is the elastic portion of this? And you could say it's from 1 to 9, because that's where dropping the price increases total revenue. Unit elastic at about 9.5, and then it becomes inelastic. So again, we can use the math, we can use the graphs, we can use the intuition. I think it's really helpful to switch between the two. Let's look at this. Elastic portion, marginal revenue is positive, hits 0, becomes inelastic. Okay, so I had promised you guys to go through some teaching ideas, and so that's what I'm going to do here. One thing that I do is I have rubber bands, and I go in the administrative assistant's office and I'm like, I need a bunch of rubber bands. And she says, why? And I get some that are stretchy and some that are rigid, right? And so with the rigid ones, I say, these are inelastic. I want you to write inelastic goods on them. So they write like cigarettes or whatever. And then elastic on the stretchy. Sometimes I actually have to put little pieces of tape so they can write on them. And then I have them get up, because we know having students stand up is like a magical thing to wake them up. And I have them actually shoot them at the board and like get a winner. I did this in a grad class once, and I had the center for the college basketball team in my class. And I remember he almost hurt his finger, and I thought, I probably shouldn't have this guy do this. But that's always kind of a fun one. The song that I play is Beyonce's Irreplaceable. It's the one where she talks about everything you own in a box to the left. Basically, she's like, don't ever think that you're irreplaceable. I don't care if you leave, right? So she's saying her demand for the man is inelastic. Word to the wise. This is a very sexual video. I have made that mistake. You might want to not actually play that video. And then I have something that's always really fun. It's an elasticity game, and I'm posting this for you guys. So there's all these goods, and I have students guess whether they're inelastic, elastic, or unit elastic, and then rank them. And it's old data, so it's like from 2000 or something. So you have to warn them, like, oh gosh, taxi rides, right? Like that would be Uber right now. So it's a little bit of a caveat. It's really hard to find all these elasticities, and this is the best I could do. But then when the students finish their guesses, then I show them the correct answers, and you can see them right here. You're welcome to look at those. The most elastic thing is fresh tomatoes. Lots of substitutes, including canned tomatoes, right? That's actually a really good substitute. Fresh green peas, those are elastic. So that one's kind of fun. So before we leave, I want you to just check your understanding. If I were you, I would pause and think about these things. What does having more substitutes do to the price elasticity of demand, and why? Makes it more elastic because it's easier to switch between things, so you respond more to price differences. What would happen if gasoline was $6 per gallon in the US in the short run and the long run? First of all, people would lose their minds. In the short run, though, they would pay it. They would just say, all right, I need to get to work. In the long run, they would move closer to their workplaces, they'd buy electric cars, whatever. So that would be more elastic in the long run. Why is the marginal revenue curve more steep than the demand curve? This is actually not something I taught you, but if you thought of it, I'll be very impressed. What happens is, to get more people to buy your good, you have to drop the price for everyone. So to sell one more, that's not all additional revenue. You kind of lose some. If that doesn't make sense, it's fine. We'll talk about it later. What's true about the price elasticity of demand when marginal revenue equals 0? That must be unit elastic or unitary elastic. And at which price elasticity of demand will total revenue be maximized? Again, that will be unit elastic or unitary elastic. Taking it a little easy on you guys this week because the homework problems are actually kind of hard. So I don't want to push through a bunch of material and have you guys lose your minds. So what we're going to do next week is cross-price elasticity, income elasticity. Jessica is going to be doing our first topic presentation, which I'm super excited about. And then I'm going to introduce consumer theory, depending on how long Jessica's project is, and if I think it's, if I don't think we want to do more work, I won't do that. We have our exam the following week. So the week of the 13th, you're going to be taking an exam, and Adam is going to be presenting. So that's all we'll do is Adam's presentation and the exam. And I'll have the exam up for a whole week. So don't stress out about that. We'll have it up for a whole week, and I'll have plenty of office hours. So that is all I have. I hope you are all doing well. And as always, please let me know if you have any questions.